This program is to help young bright stars like Movindu, Rovindu and Seneru and Nathan get their curriculum, their future career and their character and choices into alignment without losing any time or disconnection. The urgency is that at the age of 14, we edit all our brain tracks down to 50%. So whatever you fed the brain up to the age of 14, it gets edited to 50%. So what's the conclusion? By the age of 14, feed all the right stuff in good balance for your brain tracks. Then I like to show you a simple graphic. I tend to write, feeling I need a whiteboard marker. Yeah. Young people also, when they are studying at home online, it's always good to write your notes and keep your textbook, watching your textbook and writing notes. Now writing notes is not as popular as eating tippy tips, isn't it? We know that. But some things we have to do so that it's good for our brain and good for our future. So I hope my talk will help you to write your notes when you're doing online also. More you write, the more brain brilliant you are. Because only human beings know language and only human beings can write, isn't it? That's our brilliance. If we give up on language skills, human communication skills and writing skills, we lose a lot of God-given good brilliance, pitching us for future brilliance. Okay? So can we have a vote on this? You can vote on this before you come to 18. Okay, Movindu, huh? Yeah. Okay. He's Movindu. Yeah. So you have voting rights today. So what are we going to vote on? More you write, the more brain brilliant it is. And if you write 2 languages, you'll be more brilliant than if you write 1 language. Got it? And the singular language had this advantage that when we write, it does clockwise and anti-clockwise more than the English script. Present singular curriculum in schools is terrible. We loved our singular language and we learnt it. Present singular language curriculum is very, very difficult, but young people, for brain brilliance, it is important to write your language also. 2 language more frequently used, the more brain brilliant it becomes. To that I need to add, if you would play an instrument, musical instrument, early, preferably stringed instruments like guitar or violin, you may not become maestro, may not become Beethoven or Mozart or whoever it is. You might not even become, who are the local great fellows? No idea. I'm quoting from, there must be some good musicians, isn't it? Obviously not Ranjan Ramanak. I don't think he's a musician. Anyway, you got the idea. Hi. So get them onto some instrument. Even the flute is okay. Keyboard is okay. It's not a must. My parents did not know to do music for me and I didn't do any music, but my brain came all right. But because of the digital influence on a child's brain, because they have to do online, doing a musical instrument even for fun and getting down a tuition master and doing a musical instrument is a good thing. And if you like to do art, always do some art. If you are good at art, never give it up. As a hobby, do it. And for girls, we can add stitching. I really don't know why boys don't stitch. Movindu, do you have some ideas why men don't stitch but expect some lady somewhere down the line to stitch their stuff? I think you are too young for these considerations here. We need to, what's your name? This one. Dr. Ishmael, what do you think? Why do men don't stitch and it's done in any but encourage your daughter at least to do simple stitching, even if it means to get a tutor on Zoom and to do stitching. So what am I saying? More you use your small joints, proprioception, deep touch and frictional touch. Shenla, you have to get this all in, so you have to, Shenla, you have to listen to this again, write it down. So these are medical terms. So proprioception, deep touch, rough touch, frictional touch. More you do it, more the brain does better in connecting the empathic thinking learning tracks. Got it? Because proprioception and vibration are the most brain receiving communications, and especially when you have been on too much online and your dopamine is high in the networks, the glutamate of these tracks of voluntary muscles moving, the tracks that are initiated or stimulated are the glutamate tracks. These are neurochemical transmitters. Dopamine you might have heard, isn't it? So the glutamate getting into work with the kind of thing we will take you up to do now after this talk, that kind of activity puts down the dopamine even if you have been too much online and dopamine has gone high. Now what do I mean by too much online? It is not usual studies. It's not reading PowerPoint, Microsoft Word and so on. It is on the screen without a break. Now I'm defining what? What does too much dopamine mean? On the screen without a break. So you have to give them a break. Actually the science is every 25 minutes, but then school studies itself goes on for about 40 minutes at least. So what you can do is, once you're on a school study, close your eyes and look away from the screen. Now I know then other thing you can do is not to do multitasking on the screen while you're studying, because you will not remember what you're studying. You will add to your pixel consumption. So while on a pixel screen, you know the word pixel? While you know the word pixel, send look there. While on a pixel screen, if you do more things than that one thing, you are adding to the pixel consumption, therefore to the dopamine going high. So what I'll do is I'll give a off-the-cuff talk and then show you some slides. Okay? So our normal thinking doing dopamine is DA1, physiological receptors. But moment we are too much on the screen, dopamine 1, DA1 shifts to DA2, which is addictive. So the fine line between thinking, empathic, think and do, initiate, navigate, successful in conclusion and reward. That's how we are supposed to live. And who gives you the reward? The sense of a student saying, I studied that well, I understood that, I can recall. So when we do our studies for 45 minutes, automatically you want to be off, because dopamine does the salience and focus, think and do. Will you say it with me, think and do? Think and do for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then serotonin takes over for vichakshana and samalochana. There are some similar words, it's hard to get them in the English language. They are little jaw-breaking and the epiglottis swallowing kind of words, It means check back, look back, and that sense of how can I improve this? That is how serotonin works. So dopamine works for 40 minutes, and then automatically you want to sort of think back, reflect back. Even an adult, that's how we work. We work for 40-45 minutes and we want to think back. Then serotonin takes over with a sense of, I did that well and how can I improve it? So that affects your curriculum, that affects your character, and that affects your choices, because you're always thinking, how can I improve this? What happens if you go dopamine high? You just say, I do. I don't care. And they use words like that. Who cares? I don't care. And they are not getting a reflection back on how was it? Did I study deep enough for the section? Can I recall this? You know, there's this thing called inward satisfaction that's part of the empathic intuitive track. Even the child gets it that I did it well, isn't it? They get it. So the reward is firstly, inwardly you get the sense that I was able to do this well. Or you get the sense, I did it okay, but I must improve on this. No one else needs to say it. So we must train our children to have those two tracks working, where dopamine does its work and comes down, and serotonin looks back to say, that was good, but I can improve. That's called the default mode network of thought. Now we will have a look at the slides. Yes, move the slides. Now this is the default mode network I just explained. The first curve works with dopamine for salience, means focus, and it must come down. If you keep on doing the digital stuff, it doesn't come down, dopamine works. If dopamine goes working, serotonin can't give you that moderation, check back for improvement. That's the problem with dopamine going high. Did you understand that? And any digital activity after 6 p.m. is more pixel intense through the retina, more neuronal disturbance and more dopamine intense after 6 p.m. because after 6 p.m. there's a thing called melatonin that begins to work through the brain, getting us ready for the brain bright night program. So our brain must work brightly through the night so that we do well through the day. So by 6 p.m. children must be able to see the sunset, get them out of LED lights, and dad will play some cricket or football or gardening or what else can you do at home. Whatever. And if you are able to go to the beach at least once a week and run on sand, as sand is a geometric particle, I believe that so if you can't go to the beach and if you really want to do this, you remember sand pits when kids, we did a sand pit for kids. What was the meaning of that? Sand is a geometric particle, and every bit of touch with sand on the fingers or the toes is interpreted in the brain as proprioception. And imagine so many small grains of sand playing on your skin. So if you are really serious, you dig a little trench in your backyard, 2 feet wide, 1 foot deep or whatever, fill it with sand, and you hang a cricket ball over it, branch or whatever it is, and this action, whether you play cricket or not, whether you like cricket or not, whether you like Vanindu Hasaranga or not, whether you like Dasun Shanaka or not, and who cares about the sports minister, isn't it? Cricket is cricket. So that, you know, hang the cricket ball in a sock, and that tuk, I, sound, tuk tuk, barefooted on sand, is a brain brilliant activity. You don't have to go to a gym, and it also removes the pixel intensity that worked on your brain. Got it? Shall we have a vote on that? Yeah, we had to vote. I mean, we had to really, yeah. We're getting ready to go to the parliament, you know, we just raise up our hands and yeah. We had to do this is part of our training, yeah. Yes, Mavidu, yeah, this is the right thing to do, that's right, yeah. Be the pioneer, don't watch for what others do, you do it anyway, yeah. So this is about, yeah, now so this is the two curves, salience for dopamine. Satiety is feeling satisfied, those are technical terms. With serotonin, you look back, check back. Next slide. Keep, what am I saying there? Digitize kids and adults can move into depression, feel useless and joyless. To prevent depression, keep yourself joyful and useful. For this, every hour apply dopamine-driven salience. Yes, practice your design default mode network occur. Next. Now, this is how we work. This is our prefrontal cortex, and from the top of our brain, dorsolateral aspect is the technical term, we think and do top-down regulation. That is, we think what we want to do and we do it in a way it's good for us, good for our future, good for others. How many things did I say? Good for us, good for those who love us, good for our future. That's called empathy. I don't care who cares, I do what I want. That is called dyspathy. Dyspathy was not there in the dictionary when we did studies, but it's a new word. Webster has it, dyspthy, opposite of empathy. Who cares? I do what I want to do now. So that is shifting to bottom-up regulation. But let me finish with the top-down regulation. The moment you are thinking and planning to do something, this is where it is thinking and planning. It'll be an executive action, which means you decide and do. You don't get driven by the screen. Screen is smart, boy is becoming stupid. That's the way it is. So how the screen works on boys and girls has some differences, but largely it's the same impact here. Executive, empathic, good for me, good for others, good for my future. Reflective, you think and do. You understand the word? You are reflecting, you think and do. And then creative, and then initiation. So this is the track. I can see with our spectacles, you can see that, isn't it? I'm just 40 plus. I'm just 40 plus, 360 months. How much is that, Rohit? Yeah, I'm just one short of 30. I'm 69. I had a miracle when I was in the 4th year medical student. I had very bad migraine. So for the migraine, I went, during the Part 2 exam, I got migraine. Still I got my distinctions, but I got migraine in the Part 2 exam. I would get migraine at any time. Migraine doesn't kill you, but it's very troublesome. So I was taken to a meeting where a judge of the Supreme Court was praying. Supreme Court judges don't pray. But I was taken for a meeting and he prayed for me. My migraine attack that was there at that time subsided. But when I woke up in the morning, I used to wear spectacles in my 4th year. When I woke up in the morning, I could see without spectacles. That I didn't expect. To this day, I see without spectacles. So that's an old incident. So I have explained to you the initiation, navigation, in conclusion, good reward. This is how we make our decisions. But if we are too much on the screen and the screen is driving you, what happened in the last hour, what happened 6 hours ago is still working in your brain. That is called bottom-up regulation. So that works through amygdala, hippocampus and hypothalamus. We need bottom-up regulation. If we start sleeping on a banana skin, you do the things automatically. But that is for emergency. So the child who gets on the screen and shifts his thinking and doing from top down to bottom up, what is he living? Peril, thrill, all the time. Understand? Understand? So his metabolism will be affected, adrenocortical system will be affected, adrenergic drive will be affected, sleep will be affected, appetite will be affected. So it's not a small joke. It's not a joke. So if you are, say, about 10, your lipid deposition changes because your adrenocortisol high. You get obesity, you get child obesity, all those problems come in. So today is not a medical talk, so I like to keep it as, at the level young people can engage and understand. So the other track we must not get into, the bottom-up regulation, is, what am I saying there? Dyspathy, impulsive, repetitive, reflexive, not reflective. What do you mean by reflexive? Hitanne nathuwa karana. We were told paninta pera sitha balana. Then sithanta pera panala balana. Now, when the child is growing and sex hormones are working, if sexual habits or inclinations become sithannata pera panala balana, it becomes a huge problem, and it is a huge problem. Because they take risk without knowing the risk. Correct? Without risk assessment, they have got into it. Then only they start thinking what to do. So we don't want to go there. and reactive. And then you are all the time angry for different things. You're in stress, thrill, survival mode. We don't want to go there. So that's that slide. Next one. Any questions you like to ask? Am I too fast or okay? Senator, you can understand what I'm saying? Yeah. It's doable, huh? Okay. 5 lifelines: well-organized meal time, happy family meal, so that meal time is entirely for the kids' benefit. Can we have a vote on that from the dads? Yeah. So you sit with the meal, no smartphone, whatever is happening on the screen, television time and news time, during meal time, no screen. Can we vote again on that? Yeah. No screen on meal time, and your topic should be about the children, what's important for them, and you can't ask them how much is 9 times 9 during meal time, because mathematics and meals don't go together. Yeah. It should be happy talk, just letting them discuss with you what they like. But mathematics is important. Whether children are good at math or not, it's a brain thing. Some are brilliant at math. Mathematics has planning, correct? Math goes 1, 2, 3, 4. That is related to management in any field or any work. So those who have been weak at mathematics, didn't like mathematics, their lifestyle management is kiyada velawa danne naha. It happens like that. So when they are young, some amount of mathematics, everybody must get into that. Okay? So while I say don't castigate the child for not being able to do mathematics, it's good to be able to get 50% for math. That's a good target. But some children can't get more than 50%. Don't push them, don't fight with them. But at least 50% for math is a good thing. But a fellow who can get 100% for math and does not get, that's not a good thing. Because math is a subject you can get 100%. So again, I bring God into this. God has created us in some things that we can get 100%. But some things we can't get 100%. So that's okay. But the things we can get, we should get, isn't it? Otherwise we become poor performers and then we blame others. That's what happens here. So 2 to 2nd, 7 p.m. is happy family hour. So that you arrange your day to keep your 7 p.m. for family. Activity time with dad, indoor, outdoor. Get best sleep routine. So I'm strongly recommending all of you should see sunset in some way. Come out and see sunset. If you are working in a work environment with LED lights, come out of it. Because sunset sets you for nighttime brilliance with the melatonin triggering off and the bio clocks begin to work for the night. And morning sunrise is also important. So if your child is into getting up at 9 in the morning or 12 in the noon, that's not a good habit at all. So you have to get them to see, at least 6 o'clock is a good target to achieve, which means they have to go to sleep early. That morning trigger of melatonin working properly, and child must not wake up with a jerk saying late. That produces diabetes. That's science. So your morning wake up must be easy, you have time. You woke up, bio clock set working, adrenocortical axis doesn't jump start, it must start off slowly. So those are benefits of seeing sunrise, early sunlight, at least by 6 p.m. if you are up, it's good enough. Earlier you get up, if you are able, that is also good. So get best sleep routine, then timetable that's set up by 7 a.m. If you are able to check with your son before you leave for work and say, how is it today, darling, what's going to happen, and just go through the hours, You don't have to do it hourly every day, but generally say your studies will be over at 1:30, 2 o'clock. What are you going to do at 2? What are you going to do at 4? Then you have to put a few bit of physical activities to be doing at that time and knock off time and those things. Next slide. Never give smartphones or pixel screen under the age of 3 years. Never. This is American pediatric guide. Never. No. Smart screen cannot teach languages. So if you give the child the screen early, they talk like parrots. They listen and talk. That is not language formation. So by the time the child is 6 and they need to make sentences, padagalapan and things like that, they can't. So many children come to me for the empathic learning center at the age of 6 because that parrot-like talking fails. Got it? So please, those who hope to get children, none of you look as if you are hoping to have children in the future, but isn't it Vasant? Yeah. All I think is past that age, but tell your doctor colleagues also, no smartphone under the age of 3. Absolutely no smartphone. Yeah. You have to look after the child. If you have grandparents living with you, that's fine. Then no screen during feed time, that's absolute must. Meal time is oxytocin time. That's the best communication time. Children remember meal times forever. We remember our home and how meals were. That's how it is. So use your meal time for child's brain drills. No cartoons or digital games, if possible after 6 p.m. Cartoons, digital games are fast pixel activity, whereas online study generally is not fast pixel activity. Whatever it is about, if you can get 2 hours of no screen before sleep, it's important. Because the melatonin program in the brain renews the retina, there's a glial system at work, there's a glymphatic system at work through the night in the brain, and you wake up in the morning feeling refreshed and ready for school. Sometimes children wake up in the morning grumpy, grumbling about the tennis shoes, grumbling about the shoes because they are not rested through the night. Do you get such scenes at home, Ravindu? No, don't divulge state secrets, but so when a child is getting, Sandra, how is it when you wake up in the morning? What did we do? Go to sleep that night. That's okay. Other thing is, don't have LED lights if possible in the bedroom. And where they study, don't have LED light because the blue frequency works like pixel. Blue frequency lights work against the melatonin work in the brain. So in the washroom, night light, area the child is studying, you have to avoid the blue light, the LED light. Now you get a yellow LED light, but when market creates a problem and market finds a solution, it's like viruses and the software. It's like the fuel shortage and getting oil from Dubai. Solution sometimes is as worse as the problem. So I would prefer CFL, warm glow, for your child's study place. Did you understand why? Yeah. Sometimes it may be difficult because it's fixed on the roof and so on, but this is the science about blue light, LED light. Take a break after 25 minutes of screen. So while you are on, hi Dira, good day to you. Yeah. While you are on the screen, there are other things you can do. I told you, ever so often look away from the screen if possible. These were young people, while you're online studying and so on. Look away for a little bit of time so that you are not feeding on pixels. 2, if you can give a tweezer to hand or clay to do that with your fingers. Other thing is chew something. I don't recommend you chewing gum. Maybe some pear or apple, something crunchy. So anything crunchy while online removes the dopamine intensity. Give me a vote on that. Then where you are studying, you can put a lanu padura, you know, lanu carpet, you understand this choir woven thing, and barefooted, like scratch on it like thing. So similarly, if you can't get the sand trench going, when you hang the cricket ball, you can put a little Lanupadura Kal, barefooted, so your feet are all the time moving on that. You got the principle proprioception, rough touch, frictional touch, improves brain and decreases dopamine. Never study the daily life, that's my normal recommendation. Then home screen, when it is 4K and 8K, and if you are a lot on the screen at home, then it's a problem. TV. TV anywhere in the house, when on, the blue light infiltration reduces memory and recall. Did you know that? TV anywhere in the house, because of the blue light, blue frequency going out, reduces memory and recall. So if it's 4K and 8K, blue frequency is much more than if it's a much cheaper thing, you know. Yeah. Then keep attention span for 45 minutes. So even when you're older, plan your work schedules for at least 45 minutes. Don't be a couch potato. This is after retirement, of course. And writing 4 A4 pages in 2 languages prevents Alzheimer's. I repeat, writing 2 A4 pages in 2 languages prevents Alzheimer's. Any other questions from Ravi? Any question you like to ask Uncle?
Is that writing per day?
Beg your pardon?
Is that writing per day?
Writing, now this advice I give to older chappies, because you all will be writing anyway, but only thing with online studies, writing has gone down a lot. So parents have to have a way of devising how will they happily write without you having to fight with them. So don't fight your children, teach them the science, take some of my books and please read with them. I have 5 books. Tilini, can you get my 5 books? All of them you can read with children. So when the science is reinforced, they listen to the science, they understand this is for our own brain brilliance. So what you asked is about the writing thing. So that I mentioned for prevention of Alzheimer's, but it works for brain brilliance. Using 2 languages, you definitely have an advantage. That is why Sri Lankans are the most brilliant in the world. Do you know that? Yeah. Chap 4 years older to me at medical faculty wrote he was the editor of Medicine Immunology for a long time. Chief editor. Professor D.S. Kumaratna. Yeah. And many other Sri Lankans wrote top class medical textbooks. Then the most used undergraduate pathology was in US is edited by Dr. Parakrama. He was in the Colombo medical faculty. Anyway, just few examples were Seneru and Rovindu and Movindu and Duran and what's your daughter's name? Yes, that's your daughter. She came here. Yeah. And your name? So just an encouragement for you to know that Sri Lanka is not all bad. We had to flee this terrible country. They only get cricket right. You don't have to think like that. We have produced world-class academics and in every field. So it's a sad thing that our country is going through this troubled time, but we will come out of it. Any other questions? We will quickly go through this. I have spoken for about 30 minutes. I'll just pick and choose. After that, Dr. Jahan will speak to the parents for a little while. I'll take the young fellows upstairs to Dead and Dare. This has few topics. What Dead and Dare is about, you will presently see it. I like to get on to journeying with your kids across 13 years. Can you see the title at the bottom of the page 1? You didn't get one? Dylan, we need everyone to get a document. A few simple things. Can we have the next slide, Dhananji? Is there anything? That's then and there. The principle is grips and ropes. This is a new sport called GARTS. GARTS. Grips and rope, thrill, sport. The last sports minister, I recommended that he builds a center like this for every school to use in the Mahavidyalaya, Madhya Mahavidyalaya or whatever. This is the sport that will make brain most brilliant, and once it's installed, many schools can use it. So this I have recommended for the government to do. When you after your second talk, you will come upstairs and you will see this. So that's a glimpse of what our den and there upstairs is like. Principle is grips and ropes, proprioception, frictional touch, rhythmically doing it. Teams come and do it. Prefects come and do it. So that you get what I mean. We divide teams and we call one Putin, another one President Trump, or we don't give any Sri Lankan names so that we get into trouble. Anyway, you know. Also, we have a 5-acre campus in Pamanangamajala. We'll arrange the program for you there, for you to come with friends and kids, and you know, it takes about half a day to do that. This is only 45 minutes. That we recommend to get them for a full day out of digital activity. If you get a person a full day out of digital activity, let's say for 12 hours, let's say 8 to 6, for about 10 hours, then you really get the dopamine down. And you shift them from bottom-up regulation to top-down regulation. Journeying with your kids across 13 years, you are following it. Their brain tracks will do edit down to 50%, so all of them, empathy, bonding, you can give them before 30. As much as possible, be close to them before the age of 13. Catch up is possible, but after 14, they listen to peers more than to parents. Competing interests come. At 14 years, they will increasingly face situations where they have to decide without your input. Got it? So, decide with them how to decide before they get into those situations, correct? Because by the time they are 14 and you are expecting them to have great O-level results and so on, and then they are getting into situations where they are deciding by themselves, which is not good obviously. So you must have a coaching training program where they are used to your influence in their decisions even when you are not there, correct? So that's possible. Brain brilliance from mom's womb and early years are important as well. Parental bonding is critical for brain brilliance. Coach them towards 13 years of formal schooling. So I strongly recommend you do O-level and A-level in one school. I am completely against children going from O-level to graduate programs. I repeat, children going from O-level to graduate programs, it's too much of a rush. Their brain tracks are not ready for it. So give them the full benefit of one school for those 13 formative years. And they will decide and do much better in their career. And when you are 18, 19, you know more what kind of career you are capable of. When you are 14, 16, so many options are there. What I find is children who have gone into definitive programs too early, they keep changing the program. Even after 24 years, they still don't know what fits them. Got it? There's a thing that will fit you according to how your brain tracks got molded. I didn't see I have to show them the brain tracks one. 7 brain, later. Little more. That one. I hope this can be seen. I have put 7 brain tracks. This is my last slide. So the first one is empathic, intuitive. How will your son or daughter think about himself and know his inner confidence? What is that called? Empathic, intuitive. Monitor it, help him. Second one, empathic, relational. How confident are you with others? All these are available with my books and a set of docs. Set of docs is free. Every book is 200 rupees. So it's quite cheap. These are the 5 books I recommend. Children Are Heritage, Our Future. Right Learning and Recovering Childhood. The foreword for this is from the Warden of St. Thomas's and Prof. Rohan Jayasekar, you remember him? Dean, Faculty of Medicine, Colombo. Children come to me, screen smart. This is too much for children. This is for academics really. Parenting, heart and brain in a digital age. There's another one called Mom and Dad in Mistake Management. So, Shamili, why is it that family medicine is not having a lecture on this subject for the medical students? I'm asking the professor really. So the second track is empathic relational. That is how your child feels confident about relating to others. Third one is linguistic, how you have absorbed language. Fourth one is management and mathematics, because management and mathematics go together. See to it that your child is somewhat okay in mathematics. At least a 50% is a good goal to achieve. So those are the 4 tracks with which we do work. Then next 3 tracks are kinesthetic, acoustic and visual. Those are the 3 tracks with which we show work. And the pixel screen mostly stimulate or exclusively almost stimulates the kinesthetic, acoustic, visual tracks. So you get a generation that are not doing much work and trying to show up as if they are doing work, like the 225. Got it? To put it more scientifically, the sense how much you do you have lost. It is more important it has become for you to show what you do. So that's not a good shift, isn't it? They must do, and of course all of us like to show. Everyone has a kinesthetic, acoustic, visual element. That's fine. Any questions? If not, I close out.
I think we have already listened to quite a lengthy topic, and it will take a few minutes, maybe sometimes few minutes, maybe about 30 minutes. So let's see how it goes. This is about effects of parental conflict on teenagers and how to have a better relationship. This has been a topic that was very close to my heart, because naturally parents love the kids, naturally. And I think that when I say next, maybe the next slide here. Parents may not hurt their children intentionally. And I believe that mothers give birth to their kids, and parents, fathers work long hours trying to fend for their kids. We naturally love the kids and we don't want to hurt them. But however, we parents inflict pain on our kids unintentionally. So this is something that is very needed to understand. And there are three areas three areas of hurt. And this is when parents have conflict. I believe that there isn't a couple that didn't have conflict. I mean, we all have had conflict. And this is not about once in a way conflict, but this is habitual conflict. Now, when parents are in conflict, children have the inability to face the circumstances. And because they find it difficult to face it, the circumstance, they have the anxiety. They are constantly anxious. We do not know what's going to happen. My father and mother would fight. I really don't know what to happen. Now, anxiety is something that happens to normally kids when they face up to exams, when they have to go for something new, they are starting a new practice, yes, they get anxious. But anxiety here, what I'm talking about, is feeling helpless, hopeless, sometimes loss of appetite, loss of energy. That's the anxiety I'm talking here. And the depression about we don't know what's going to happen. Now, these are inability to face the circumstance. That I would say would be the lowest level of effects on the child because of parental conflict. Now, it comes a little deeper when it comes to disruption of loyalty. both father and mother are important people in a life of a child, and especially when they are teenagers, where they form relationships with each other, they are friends, their relationship group expands, but nevertheless, the father and the mother are the people whom they trust the most. Yes, they have friendships, but the father and mother are the people whom they trust the most. So what happens when there is parental conflict? We sometimes feel when there is parental conflict, okay, it's a matter of right or wrong. But something deeper happens to the child, and that is the child learns to take sides. Whether we like it or not, they take sides, and as a result, they have to let go of a person or they have to break down the loyalty to a person who is a very significant person in their life. Be it the father, be it the mother. And as a result, the child learns to be disloyal in the relationships. And this is very significant because sometimes we parents don't know the consequences. This goes on into their adult lives as well. So you will feel children disloyal. Now the third kind of pain is the hating of oneself. Now this is of course a little bit deeper than the previous two kinds. We all know that children are a product of two, the mother and the father. The parents know it and the children know it. Now when children are a product of two, there are some characteristics that come from the father and there are some characteristics that come from the mother. Now when a child learns that, okay, my ability to focus, study well came from my mother or came from my father, the child should naturally learn to celebrate that. Now to this date, sometimes I say, I was like my father in these areas. I take pride in that. But what happens in parental conflict is something very deep, that this happens when the child actually demonizes or child disregards one parent or behaves as if the parent is non-existent. When that child finds character traits of that parent being revealed in that person, that child begins to hate himself. I don't know whether I made myself clear, or do you understand? When you just say that the child is angry with the father, and when the child recognizes some of the traits coming from the father in me, the child begins to hate himself, and that is the time they try using drugs, alcohol, or self-harm. Because to numb the feeling, there is someone in me which I don't like. So this is why parental conflict is such a topic that we need to discuss. Parental conflict is something that we need not ignore. And the next slide is, so where do we start? Now let me, we'll go to the next slide. Now, why are we talking this? Because if you want to make time spent with your partner a bliss, this is something that is very important, because when parents are in conflict, most of the time is spent on arguing, exchanging heated words, sorting out problems. That's how usually, if a parents are in conflict, how they spend time. But these things are valuable if you want to make the time spent with your partner a bliss, and if you want to foster togetherness in the relationship. Couples can be under the same roof, sleeping on the same bed, eating at the same table, but worlds apart from each other. Now that is why we need to understand and we need to discuss these concepts, because if you want to be free, if you want freedom to be yourself in the relationship, some partners are always in a reactionary mode. They are not bringing into the relationship the strength they need to bring. And every relationship is unique, and some of the things that you can bring, only you can bring. And we need those in every relationship. And if you want your partner to value and honor you. Now there are some things that who this is not for. Because we need to, who this is not for is those who want to become a victim of the relationship. Some have absolutely given up on the relationship. And when they give up, that is a sign that, however much you instruct a person on the relationship, when they have given up, it's not going to help. So if you want your relationship right, the first thing you need to do is to own the relationship. And those who are unwilling to follow step-by-step instruction, because I do have a course on bringing couples together, and it's a step-by-step instruction, because sometimes we tend to not do certain steps. And this is not for those who are too busy to set a time to build the relationship. For anything worthwhile to happen, you need time. If you want to earn more, you need to spend time earning. If you want to do well in your studies, you need to spend time studying. If you want a good relationship, there is no other way than spending time. You need to spend time if you need a good relationship. Right, let me discuss why I am doing this. Because make this world a better place. Some of the unhappiness in relationships is a cause of substance abuse, anxiety, depression. So this is why we need to focus on relationships, develop self-confident kids. It has been found that one of the greatest causes of lack of self-confidence in kids are the conflicts between parents. And make life a celebration with happy romantic relationships. So in the next, maybe I have said 45 minutes, I'm not going to take 45 minutes. In the maybe next 20 minutes, I'm going to cover 3 areas. What most people don't realize about focusing on problems and losing attachment. The simple way to foster softness of heart in your relationship, and a little known secret to build togetherness in your relationship. Right. Now, here is why you need to know what I need to know. A fulfilled relationship has 7 basic characteristics. And these 7 characteristics are not rocket science. You would have experienced these characteristics sometime or the other. But if you bring these 7 characteristics into your relationship, virtually you can turn any relationship around. I have worked with so many people, I have brought these 7 characteristics, and once those are recognized, their marriages are flourishing, right? Now these are the characteristics: attachment, softness of heart, mature love, togetherness, atmosphere for change, freedom, and happiness. Now today, we are not going to go for all 7. We are going to only focus on 3. And the next slide I have done is, not that one, next one. I have 2 gifts for you. So if you stay till the end, I have put a price tag also for these gifts, because in a commercial world, if you say anything is given free, it's not valuable. So I have put price. One is 2,000 rupees, one is 5. So you're going to go away with 7,000 rupees today, right? So be happy, right? Right. So let me go to the other one. Are you doing things the hard way? Now, are you using force to change your partner's behavior? That is, I think, one of the toughest things if you're going to do, you will do and fail most of the time. If you use toughness, force, you can be sure at the end of the day, it will not work, right? Then, are you fighting loneliness and keeping yourself busy? Sometimes you are lonely in the relationship, you're fighting so hard, you're keeping yourself busy. Are you insecure and simply don't know how to fix it? Are you trying hard to win your partner's attention? Or are you attempting to love while numbing your emotional wounds? It doesn't, next slide, it doesn't have to be that way. Now let me tell you an easier way. And this is one of the, we'll go to the next slide. These are some of the reviews I have got. We are married for the past 19 years. After the second year of marriage, we were verbally abusive towards one another. We hated each other and was seeking a separation. We thank God for coaching we received from Dr. Jehan. He helped us to feel valuable again. We were able to understand each other and see the blessing that God has given us in our family life. We now have a happiness that we didn't know existed in our marriage. We also found a new joy in forgiving others. It helped us to recover our marriage and be happy in it. We thank God for giving us a second chance. We have no words to express our gratitude. Now, this is a couple married for 19 years. They have lived fighting for 17 years. But when you bring those 7 characteristics into the relationship, all of a sudden, like a light turned on, everything changed. Right? Okay, the next slide. I am a law college student. I am in a relationship with a young man who for the past 3 years, a relative of my fiance was having a negative influence on him and was working against our relationship. This led to many arguments between me and my fiance. I resorted to frequent crying and took on a remorseful demeanor. I was about to give up on him when I met Dr. Jehan, and on the first day I spoke, he made me a positive thinker and brought healing to my heart. I was privileged to attend his sessions with my fiance. Now our relationship is stronger than ever. I feel no one can come between us. I want to thank God for making our lives happy again. Because it is so evident that these 7 steps, it's like turning something and shifting something, right? Now, results are not accidental because for any result, you need some effort. It is for any result, you need effort, you need time. Let's go to the next slide. Now, we'll go up to the first principle. Work on your attachment and not the problem. Now, this is a common mistake that many couples face when they have problems. They feel that if we can solve all our problems, then our relationship would become a fabulous one. So what happens when a couple has conflict, or the husband and wife has conflict? They try all their means to settle the problem. But one thing happens. Now, I think Dr. Lalith also spoke about the prefrontal cortex. Now, that is the place where you do all your math calculation. That is the place where you do your studies. That's the place where you work, strategize, plan, and do everything. Now, when you are solving a problem, that is the place that your brain uses, the prefrontal cortex. And when you are solving a problem, how many of you know that you would choose the easiest way to solve the problem? You will choose the least expensive way to solve the problem. You will use the easiest, the fastest, the most accurate way to solve the problem. Now, just imagine if your husband or wife loves you with the least amount of money, with the quickest way, with the most accurate way, and quick fix, everything done. That's not the way we love. Because simply, love is done by another part of the brain called the limbic system, where the hypothalamus is the one that is most active. It is the time to spend a lot of time. It is the place where you feel the time passing by without no clear agenda. That is love. So what happens to human brains when they try to solve problem is they are activating the wrong place and they are trying to find love. Now, dear friends, that is why when solving problems, when you go to many marriage counselors, the first thing they do is try to solve each other's problems. And sometimes I feel sad for the couple. Because that's not the place where you will get a good marriage. The good marriage is a place where you build on your attachment. Sometimes you may have to forget the problem and you need attachment. Now just imagine this. When you first, your husband or wife, and you fell in love with each other, was it the time that you simply didn't have problems? Or was it the time that you felt a lot of attachment in spite of the problems? You overcame the problems because of the attachment. Now this is why it is, we'll go to the, solving problem does not equal good relationship. Some of the best relationships are not free from problems. And attachment is your power, in your power. Now we'll go to the next slide. There are some attachment styles. This is the first slide, is called the anxious attachment. The anxious attachment is the other partner wants most of your feelings to be communicated to the other. If you're feeling this way, you want the same feeling to be felt by the other. And when that happens, the other partner feels like squashed. I have no freedom. All the emotions the other partner is coming on me. Every decision, every attachment has to be shared. That is called anxious attachment. The avoidant attachment is the quite opposite. That is, the partner feels insecure to share their personal lives. So hardly is there any attachment. Now the problem comes when anxious attachment and the avoidant attachment, husband and wife meet. One person wants to hug this person to himself, the other person wants to stay away, and comes the problem. Now the secure attachment is when they connect with each other sufficiently, but each one has the freedom to pursue their own ends also. So that is the secure attachment. Now how do you apply this principle into your relationship? Are you focusing on the problem or the attachment? One simple but very profound question. If you want a good relationship, you need to focus on the attachment. Secondly, know your partner's attachment style. Thirdly, develop a secure attachment with your partner. Next slide. Are you waiting for the problems between you and your partner to cease before you feel love for each other? In my first example, they have waited 19 years till their problems settled. Unfortunately, their problems didn't settle. And some couples go on till death do us part, trying to solve problems to have a better relationship. That's not the way, right? Okay. Second one is creating softness of heart. Now, just remember the first time you fell in love and you had this glowing desire to meet with the person whom you wanted to meet and love, and the next move was to, next slide, to touch and speak. The next move was touch and speak. You would have spoken, you would have touched. That's the way you communicate love. Now sadly, when couples age or when couples have been married for a long time, the only place they touch is when they are having a physical intimacy. Otherwise, I have met couples, the only time they touch each other is only when they are having physical intimacy. Otherwise, they don't touch. Now, this is why sometimes couples fail. And the husbands and the wives feel, my husband doesn't love me anymore. Because that touch has ceased. Now, if you want a good relationship, you need to know to speak kindly and to touch. Very vital ingredients, very, very necessary. Now let's go to the next slide. This is the stages of building communication. First, you had a great desire and you had this desire. The next one is invitational communication, where you invite them, do you like this, do you like that, or invitational. Then comes the explorational communication, where you wanted to find about each other and you talk to each other. Then comes the intensifying communication, where virtually you speak anything that comes to your mind, and this is the time that couples can't live without each other. They are so happy. Now this period from no interaction to intensifying communication lasts from about 6 months to 3 years. After that comes the revising communication. The husband and the wife gets a realistic view of each other, not the euphoric view. After that time comes the revising communication, and the most significant part of this communication are their plans together. Their future plans together. In your marriage, in my marriage, do we have common plans together? It could be about your kids, it could be about your future earning, retirement, whatever. The more you have common plans together, you will find more connection and good communication. Because when you are revising communication, you get rid of all the petty talk. It becomes long. The next we go to the breaking of communication. The first phase, these are all in psychology. Its first thing is called dyadic breakdown. Dyadic breakdown is, the husband doesn't put the arm around the wife, or the wife doesn't cook the favorite meal. They feel, oh, my husband and wife she doesn't love me, he doesn't love me. Dyadic, you feel as if that person doesn't love. Then intrapsychic phase. Intrapsychic phase is when they start worrying and they cannot connect with each other. They start worrying about the little negligencies. That's called the intrapsychic phase. And then come the dyadic phase, where they live as two separate people. Right? Then comes the social support, which is they are virtually breaking up, and comes the grave dressing, that is, that they complete their ways. Now, this is why we need to know the simple way to create softness of heart is awareness of your communication phase. A good place to start is try to achieve a level that is just above you. If you are living as two people, try to be friends. Just achieve a level higher. And that way you can actually connect with your partner. Right, next slide. How does this apply to you? Let me engage in conversations with your partner, leaving behind the past. Start your conversations as you had at the getting to know time of your relationship. That is the best way. So the second phase is touch and speak. Now comes the third part, building togetherness in your relationship. And this is what I told earlier. You can be on the same bed, sleep in under the same roof, but can be worlds apart. Now, togetherness is a very important principle, not only with your husband and wife, but with your child as well. Togetherness helps a couple to feel they are a team. Now, this is the secret of building togetherness. Togetherness equals spending time contributing, listening, or accompanying for a common purpose. Togetherness means both the husband and wife contribute at the same level for some common thing. If you feel that togetherness is something that you need to improve, this is what you need to do. Now let's go to the next activity, the next slide. This is not something that is very difficult to do. How do you build togetherness in your relationship? Schedule a time to be with your partner. Time is needed. Recognize your partner's likes and dislikes. Your partner has some things he or she likes to receive some support. find those things out and plan activities that will bring you together. If you do that, you will find a different sense of togetherness in your relationship. Right, next slide. Now, next slide please. Yeah. Right, now I promised you that I had three things today. I spoke about attachment, I spoke about softness of heart, and I spoke about togetherness. Now let's go to the next slide. Now here is the real opportunity that I see for you, because I feel that, we can just hear this and go and forget about what have been said, but it goes back to your same results. Let's go to the next slide. The good news, it's not about waiting for your partner to change. If you're waiting to have a good relationship, waiting for your partner to change, but if your partner does not change. So get back, be hopeful about the relationship, get back the reins of your relationship, and it's about whether you're prepared to follow a simple step-by-step instruction. Okay, next one. What you need to win, you need to be the right person. These are very important things. To have a good relationship, you need to be the right person. And you need the right instructions. And you need the right help. Okay, let's go to the gifts. I promised you 2 gifts. These are the gifts, right? So I have prepared an ebook with all the 7 steps. Of course, when I'm doing these 7 steps, it takes me about 9 hours of teaching all the 7 steps. And so if you want to learn the 7 steps, what exactly are the 7 steps, please send a WhatsApp text to this number, and you will get a link of the 7 steps. This is the 7th step that changed the couple who was fighting for 19 years. This was the 7 steps that brought the law student together. And these are only 2 examples that I have told, but there are countless other couples who went through the 7 steps and they have seen a significant difference in their relationship. I'll give you the number later. Now, there's a bonus gift. I said 2 gifts, so I need to give you 2 gifts. The bonus gift is, I have a special gift for the first 10. I was expecting more than 10, so I think there are less than 10 couples. So I would like to give 1 hour a couple, or 40 minutes a couple. And we'll go to the next slide. And I would like to give you a plan to achieve a fulfilling relationship. I am happy to help you to develop a plan to create a fulfilling relationship for you. We'll go to the next slide. I have set aside some time in the next 72 hours, sometimes it may extend, to speak to 10 people how to apply these principles into your personal life. And this is what I'm going to talk to you on a 40-minute call. Firstly, I want to talk to you about your biggest challenge. This is my finding, this is my understanding, that many couples try to get a good relationship, but they really don't know their biggest challenge. If you address the biggest challenge, you will definitely see a change in your relationship very fast. Results are very fast. Secondly, I will help you to solve it. And thirdly, I will set out a step-by-step plan for you to reach your end goal. Now let me say who this is for. This is for those who are committed to restore their relationship. Because it is also my understanding, many have given up when it comes to marriage conflicts. They give up. They say, I don't want this anymore. To those who are willing to take responsibility for your actions and results, if you are willing to change your approach to the relationship and be the best version of yourself, you must be open for new ways of thinking. If you can say yes to all of this, I am happy to help you for free during a 40-minute strategy call. And if you send me a text message, I would help you. If you have anybody who needs help, please pass on this number and I will be happy to help. And now why I am doing this? Because I have seen the effects on the kids. And I believe it is my bounden duty to help each couple before something grave happens. So in that 40-minute call, I will help you how to focus on your attachment, how to bring softness back into the relationship, and how to bring togetherness back into your relationship. Okay, so that's my number. Thank you very much.